Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Hello, Laurent.
Good afternoon, Elyse.
How are you?
Well, it's the strange time of the year.
Strange time of
And
year.
I'm not talking politics or AI. I'm just talking about the weather. You know,
I know it's so warm outside.
It's like people are like, so what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And what about Halloween? And it's like 95 degrees, the Santa Ana winds. And, Chloe calls me like, what about Christmas? I'm like, it's July. We have plenty of time.
Oh,
It's
no,
like,
it's
Dad,
the end of October.
I know.
Yeah.
But we have our end of October heat wave here. So I'm completely disgusted. Not
Do
that
we
it
usually
takes,
have one? I feel like we usually get like a November.
yeah.
I've been to the beach in November before. That's actually my favorite time to go to the beach.
but yeah, I'd get completely discombobulated when people are like, so what are you doing for Christmas? I'm like, what are you talking about? The pool, the beach? I don't
The
know.
pool and the beach sounds great, actually. Can we make that happen?
So yeah, I think that's going to be
How was your weekend? How was your week? How have you been?
This year has been crazy. The time flies, like weeks go by. I did have a very relaxing weekend.
Great.
I was a little under the weather on Friday, so I took it easy. And
Did you get that thing that everyone's been getting?
Yeah, some respiratory thing that you don't feel really sick, but you
don't feel good.
You don't feel good either.
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't last that long, so
Yeah.
that was good. What about you?
I was in Georgia.
I know.
I went to visit Savannah and Tybee Island with my family. So we're celebrating my mom's 70th birthday. So we didn't talk too much about this, but my birthday was this month, and my mom and I have the same birthday, and my grandma. It's a whole thing. But so my mom celebrated 70 this year. She's fine with me saying that. I don't have to lie about her age or anything. But yeah, we celebrated her 70th birthday by getting the whole family together, and we went down to Savannah, and it was really calm and really great. But here's the thing. So anyone who is an actor or who auditions, something happens when you book a flight, and you will get an audition. And I got 4. So I went from having maybe I knew I had like one thing that I had to get done. I booked a callback audition that I had to do live while I was on vacation. I had a commercial audition that I had to record while I was there. And there was another one that I wasn't able to get done. They gave me an extension for it, which is great. But and then one that I had to do the day I got back. So, I mean, it has been a wild week for me. I do have some news though. Can I share?
Oh yeah, I think you should.
I booked a short film. So I'm going to be filming at the end of November. I'm very excited about it. It's a really cool script. It's a really hard part, but it's something that I'm really excited to do and to take on. And I think that since I've put a lot more energy into putting myself out there again and really doubling down on the acting, like it's been, I mean, obviously it's kind of fruitful. So like I booked a short film. I'm so excited about it and nervous, but that good kind of nervous.
Good nervous, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's fantastic that, I mean, you got a call back today. So
yeah. And another one today. Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's been a little crazy, but that on top of all of the other work that we're doing, it's definitely, I have a full plate right now. So
does that change?
Never.
Right.
Yeah. It's just fuller. It's more like if you're looking at it like a dinner plate, like I have a lot more sides now and a really solid main course. But so speaking of the other work that we're doing and getting into design, I want to encourage anyone who's listening to this to go back to, I think it was our 6th or 7th episode, where we interviewed Edel Legaspi, and she was fascinating to have on. I really, really liked her episode. I really liked her interview. And this week, our guest is her husband, Christopher Quartz. For a long time, they had a business together, and he's been sinking more into because he's an architect, and so into his business. And we got to have him on and talk about, I mean, we've mentioned him so many times on this show.
Yeah, we have.
Because he was the architect of Kevin Kolanowski's house. And so we talked about it on that episode. Highly recommend that interview as well. And so those are things that we're sort of picking from in this episode and in this interview. But Chris is just, he's so laid back. He's so like chill and cool. He's so cool.
He is. And for me, they're literally one of my favorite couple. I mean, the way that they juggle their family life and their businesses, and it's been really fun to see them grow and evolve, and I love them. I really do.
Yeah.
They bring me a lot of joy every time that we have them for dinner, and so I'm excited. I was excited to have him on.
You've been working with them for a while. How long have you known them now?
I don't know, about probably 8-9 years, something
Okay,
like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they've been very good supporters of Kimberly Dem. We've done some cool work,
Mm-hmm.
but more importantly, I just love their energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was fun to have it all early, and now I have Chris,
A year
on
later.
the podcast. So a year later was really fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was a pleasure sitting down with him and sort of picking his brain about where he gets his inspiration. And there are a couple of really fun moments in there. So, I think we should we get to it?
We should. Let's go.
Hi, this is Elyse from Clutter Bravado podcast. Clutter Bravado is an independent podcast, and as any independent artist will tell you, getting off the ground is a little challenging. If you like what you're hearing, please like, comment, share, subscribe, support us in any way that you can on the platform where you're listening. And follow us on Instagram at Clutter Bravado for exclusive clips, events, and giveaways. We quite literally could not do this without your continued support. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends, and please follow and subscribe so that you can be the first to have access to our latest episodes. Now, back to the show. Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with architect Christopher Quartz. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Really good. Your wife was one of our first guests on the show.
I know.
Yeah.
I got big shoes or shouldn't say that. Very fancy shoes to follow.
Very fancy shoes to fill.
fancy
Yeah.
shoes to follow.
How are you doing today? How is it? How is business these days?
It's as good as it can be.
Yeah.
Everything is great.
Okay.
Everything always ebbs and flows.
Right.
But yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So I find you very interesting because we've met a lot of architects and we've had a few of them on the show, and you have a very different vibe than all of the other architects that we've had on here. Usually they're very straight-laced and very organized. And I know that you have that in you, but at the same time, the way that you present isn't that. Like, you just seem so SoCal and vibey.
Okay, I'll take it.
So let's just start here. How did you get into architecture?
I have like the quintessential like architectural like upbringing and background per se.
Okay.
Played with Legos as a kid. Very kind of artsy as a kid. My dad wasn't his full-time job, but my dad was a draftsman on the side.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So he would always be, come home after work. He was just a warehouse manager as his daytime job, right? And then at nighttime, he would do his side hustle, that's what his real passion was.
Right.
You could tell that's what his real heart was at, right? And so, being a little kid, you're always
Right.
interested in what your parents are doing. You're always following. I mean, it's just kind of generational. Like, you follow what your parents do, or you're really curious about what they do, right? So, I would always just, you go along with him. I would always watch what he's drawing. Hey, what's that? What is this? Why are you doing that? I would go to job sites with him, whenever he did have the chance to go to job sites and stuff. So that just kind of I don't know if that was like the switch that clicked on or anything, but that just kind of got me going in that right direction. And then at least back then when I was going through middle school and high school, we were lucky enough to have drafting classes in middle school and that. So
Yeah.
of course I took it.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course, again, my teacher was great. He ended up being my mentor pretty much all the way through high school, and really, again, supported me a lot, got me excited about, you know, architecture in general. And then, you know, I'm here talking with you guys now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just kind of a very natural kind of progression in regards to watching my dad and then kind of just going through and seeing where it takes me.
It's amazing how, as a kid, you know, I have the same experience in the sense that my dad's a dealer. I was at the shop every weekend. I would go on buying trips with him because that was the only time he would take me anywhere. You know, the take me work. So he would be like, "Hey, get in the car and we'll go." And it's amazing how, as a kid, I think that you register something. It imprints in your brain, and I can't really explain it, but I have that same feeling where it was like natural for me to, you know, and even though I ended up not going to school for that, but it just came with, you know, that experience as a child. It's interesting.
It's just something that you ended up doing. My dad was a mechanic, and I don't know my way around a car. So,
Well, now it doesn't matter. Whatever you knew at the time doesn't matter anymore.
Still,
but my mom was a bartender, and I did bartend for like
See?
you know, 10 years, something ridiculous.
See?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of influence there.
Yeah. So was architecture the one path for you? Did you have any other sort of paths that intersected with it along the way?
No, not really.
No?
It was pretty much straight architecture all the way through. Obviously, growing up as a little kid, I was just like, oh, I'm going to be a basketball player. You know, I played basketball a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then sports. But again, I wasn't that athlete, you know, that professional athlete. But, so architecture was pretty much the only path that, you know, I followed. So
I see.
Yeah.
So since you've been on that path for a long time, is there ever a moment that it starts to feel a little bit, I don't know, like tired, or that you feel like there's something that is missing?
Not missing. You know, you definitely go through different points, you know, throughout your career, or just in business in general, especially being your own business owner or entrepreneur, however you want to call it, right? You know, everything is always, you always try to make it out as like everything's great. You know, you always try to stay optimistic and positive, right? Yeah. But then there are just times like, you know, Laurent, you and I were talking about, you know, sometimes it gets a little slow, and it's just like you have to figure out the right, I guess, the right ways of trying to make it through those slow points, because especially in the design world, at least from my opinion and my experience over the years, you know, everything definitely ebbs and flows. It's never really like a constant, right? Like there's always times when you have nothing and then everything actually hits at the same time, right? And that's just always how it kind of ends up being. So in those instances to where, you know, business is kind of feels like it's slow or it kind of dips, you know, you always have, at least for me, I always have that thought in the back of my mind. It's just like, something's going to go probably nuts pretty time soon. Right. So you try to keep looking forward, and you try to find the moments that what kind of spurs your passion and what keeps you going.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, speaking of, what is something that keeps you feeling creative or like reignites that spark for you?
For what I like to do, and I used to do this in college a lot too, I just used to just go on drives and just drive around neighborhoods, see what's under construction, see what's cool, see what's not. Because obviously what we do is just like, oh, that looks, you know, we're very opinionated about what we do, right?
Yeah.
And so you just start driving around, and that's what kind of always inspired me. It's just like, that project's really cool. I drive by that project all the time. That house is stunning, and of course I can do that too.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you get really I'm very prideful about what I do in my business. Right. So that's that's what I would always do, is just like, because, you know, when I'm busy, you don't have the time to just go out and take a drive and do, you know, so that's what I kind of do to stay inspired. I just go see what kind of everybody else is doing. Right?
Yeah. Do you mostly look at new construction, or do you also look at some like historical buildings?
Everything.
Yeah.
I kind of look at both sides, because, you know, the past really informs our future, right? You still take a lot of styling cues and architectural cues from the past, and you massage it and manipulate it to meet the current project you're doing, or meet a specific design, you know, aesthetic that you're trying to get after.
Yeah.
And also I know a couple of projects that you've worked on where you have that, California influence that you have to incorporate and make it modern, and you did. One project it turned out to be really, really incredible.
Thank you.
And so it's, it was a feat because it's like that house. That house was just supposed to be just renovated, and you kept two walls.
Wait, which one are you referring to?
Kevin and Sylvester.
Kevin and Sylvester. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. Because we had Kevin on here. We talked about you a little bit. We had to.
I love
course.
I love
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
They're
I
so
love
great.
Sylvester. Just kidding.
Well, no, it's fun, and that's what makes. It's always interesting when you do. Obviously, Kevin, so they're like family to me, right? And I think it was so. It's interesting when you do business with, and it's that line about doing business with friends. But I thought it was one of the funnest projects ever.
Oh wow! Yeah.
To be in just like one of those. Because they're both creatives themselves,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so outside from just being the normal client, they're also your family, and it becomes this like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it's just different from all the other projects, and not in a not that all the other projects we do are bad in that way, right? But I don't know. There was just something special about that project.
It's really perfect. It's a perfect house. The kitchen, everything is just lovely. But what's interesting is that you were able to keep the spirit of the house, I feel, and make it such a comfortable, modern house to live in. And that's pretty impressive.
Can you describe your creative process a little bit when it comes to that property? Because we talked about it a little bit on the show with Kevin, but I'm curious to know how you approached it and what your challenges were.
Well, my normal creative process starts with imagery is the biggest thing that it starts with. I start with just imagery of what it's kind of like my tours, my driving tours, right?
Uh-huh.
I start looking at just images of what I think is cool or I think could be, and it's not, the imagery doesn't come to be, it has to be exactly that, or it's like, it's more meant to like strike a vibe or an emotion or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it started with that, and I don't know, it just kind of in combination with Kevin and Sylvester on that in regards to, what they were kind of looking for or what challenges they were kind of relaying to me that were challenges in their mind, because that's what was the interesting part about working with, again, creatives like such as myself, right? Because it's just like with normal clients, you would just be like, okay, here's our first couple options of design, and then you walk them through and they're like, okay, great, we're going to sleep on it a little bit and then get back to you with comments. With creative clients, it's just like, they came back to me with options, it's just like, hey, we came up with these options, what do you think? It's just like, wait, what? It's just like, that's my job, but that's what made it even more kind of, it was much more of a collaboration, I think, more so than a normal client would be, right? But I think out of that project, I think the biggest challenge, at least, that kind of led to the biggest part of that project was the stairway, the stairwell, the stair tower. Right, because it was about trying to figure out, where the stairs would go without totally cutting up the flow of the house. So that's what kind of led to just the idea of the, not necessarily central stair tower, but the tower in the front to where you could still, meander around the floor plan and still leave some of the house there that ended up hanging on and making it through, and then the rest of it just kind of flowed after that.
Yeah, because this was a house that started off being one story, and you added a second story onto it.
Correct.
And so the way that you were able to do that was creating this tower in the front of the house where the staircase is that would take you up to the top floor, and it feels like it's been there, like it feels like it's meant to be there.
And that's what I really want to do on all my projects. I don't want it to, they don't need to be like brand spanking, even though they are brand spanking new, but they need to look like they belong and they belong there. It's not just like something that stands out like an eyesore. It has to kind of be, layered in properly.
And do you feel that that's, obviously your background is in Southern California, which is an interesting region because everything is brand new, but somehow you have to try to I mean, I think that if you're talented, you try to incorporate, you know, the house within the neighborhood. Is that, do you think that that's something that comes from that you're bringing here?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just from what the projects kind of inform me of, right? And what the clients bring to me too, because a lot of the time it's just a balance of, almost all of our projects are collaborations in regards to, it's very rare that I'll have a client that'll come to me and be like, hey, just do whatever you want. I mean, that would be amazing, right? But there's most of it's collaborations. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And then it becomes a, little brainchild in regards to what we think is going to fit best in the neighborhood or what we want to, inspire it to be.
Yeah. I want to pull some snark out of you.
Oh.
Just like a little bit.
Okay.
I want to know if there are any current trends in architecture that you are just, that's like oil and water with you, that you like can't stand, or that is there anything that you turn away from, or that you would sway your clients to maybe do something else?
Well, just from me, obviously me, not personally, but my professional design preference, I'm not into like LED craziness.
Yeah.
Right.
Like LEDs everywhere.
Yeah.
Lighted onyx or lighted marble, like backlit stuff. And again, that's just not my vibe.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if it's done, and I guess like, if you want to use it snarky, but if it's done well, obviously LEDs can get out of control, and you see that in a lot of projects, right? Like it's like everywhere. It's in every cove, it's in every shelf. Like that's one thing.
Under every stair. Yeah.
A lighted bar, don't get me wrong. If you have like a really well done like lighted onyx bar, that's fine. But when you have it in this room and in that room and there and then there, and they're like these big grand gestures, like that kind of gets to me a little bit. But again, that's everybody's design choice too.
Yeah.
It's hard because some people are into that and some people like that, but that's just not my jam. I guess it's more about filtering and, layering stuff in correctly versus like throwing everything at it, It's like it's got everything. But there's also a grandeur to that too that people really like. And that's what,
That's why it exists.
That's why it exists, yeah.
Do you think that working with, so you've worked with, I mean, obviously your wife is a famous designer, and you've worked with her quite a bit. She also has that layering feel in her interiors. Do you think that the two of you just like it informed your taste a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we also, there's a lot of stuff that, is complete opposites too, which I think is even more extremely helpful to have, right? But yeah, we both definitely have a good, strong sense of editing and not paring down, because you can still have a lot of layers into it without being at like too crazy heavy or too crazy over the top. But yeah, I think we, obviously in tandem with each other, we really,
It's very subtle. I mean, what you do is very subtle. There are some projects that, it's in your face. I think that a lighted onyx bar qualifies as being in your face. There's nothing subtle in that. And I think that it's interesting because both of you have, a very subtle way of looking at an interior and the furnishings and, for you, the architecture, the lighting that you chose. Or,
right.
It's like, the way the light, it's interesting because it's very elegant.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's just we're doing a couple of projects now, and it's fun because it's one of the houses we're doing right now together it's I don't know what, it's like more Napa in style vibe. It's one that's finishing up now. And what's fun about that one is like there's so much material everywhere, but in a good way, right? Like it's not just your proverbial drywall walls, drywall ceiling and stuff. Like there's very little drywall in the house, which is great. And the little bit of drywall that's left is, it's got a nice soft plaster texture to it. So it's like, which is great. I mean, the client really bought into it and is really like entrusting us to really like take it there, which is great. It's really fun when the client's even more so excited than you are. So when you're hey, what if you think we carry the rubble stone all the way up the stairwell? I love it. Let's just do it. I'm like, all right, great. So it makes the project even funner when they really, really dive into it and are just like go crazy. But that one's fun too, again, because it's just more and more layers, but all in a good way, because it makes you think about how everything should be paired together differently versus just tossing it on just because,
Right.
And then that's where it starts becoming that refined look that everybody's trying to get after.
Yeah. Something that feels, I think a lot of your work, 'cause I stalk everybody that's on the show. So I was looking at a bunch of your projects and that is a way that I would define it, which is it feels refined and it does feel really elevated and really elegant. So we'll back off from the snark a little bit. I'm going to dig into more of that a little bit later.
All right. We'll circle back on the snark later.
We'll circle back on that. But you did mention like the use of LED lighting and things like that, which are some things that are fairly new, and it's ways that people are involving tech into their space. Is there a way that you are now incorporating tech into interiors? And is there something that you're sort of like butt up against, or is there something that you love about it? Like is there like a new need for tech in people's interiors?
I don't know if there's necessarily a need per se, but there's definitely different clients have different levels of need in regards to how smart they want their house to be.
Yeah.
Because tech nowadays, it can get pretty like, welcome home, Laurent, welcome home. What would you like the temperature to be? I mean, you can get it to be that point now, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? But it is kind of the norm at the same time too. So I think, again, it just comes down to understanding what the client is after, and then us trying to make it kind of go away in a sense into the scheme, because that's the thing. There's so much, and it's pretty good now. You're hiding all the tech. You're hiding it even high tech and light switches right now. Like you can get really beautiful looking light switches that have little computers behind them, and you can control everything with their phone, but yet they look, very elegant and old school and different finishes, and it becomes endless, right? So it's just more about becoming just as knowledgeable as you can about all the different nuances of stuff, and like being like, okay, I like that, but how do I not see it, or how do I make it go away, or but then some clients are just like, I just want to on and off switch. All right, cool, we can do that too. So it just depends.
If you were a client, which camp would you be in? Like wanting a lot of the tech in there?
I'm gonna be just like the middle of the road.
Okay.
Because I get some of it, and again, I haven't myself lived in. I'm like the cobbler's shoes. I haven't done any crazy work on my house yet. But it's like until you actually live in it, right? Like I think that's when you really start to understand like if the three of us would be, it's almost like a Big Brother show. Like you would almost put in a smart house and be like, then you see actually until you were able to experience it and go through it and use it on a daily basis, then that would inform you like, oh, I can't live without this. This is amazing. Or this is way too much for me. I don't need all these buttons, or I can just get away with just a simple on and off switch, which a lot of people still do, but I think until you're able to really get into it. So that's why I would vote for middle of the road for me, because I do like some aspects of it. But then there's the archaic behind, the archaic dinosaur in me is just like, I just need the old on and off switch too, right?
Yeah.
I just need I need the lamps. I need to walk through my house and turn off the lamps at night.
Sure.
There's something therapeutic about it. But what's interesting is when technology goes too far, and it's like people have so much that it never freaking works. I mean, it's like they make it too complicated that at the end it never works, and that I find very funny, because I'm like, you have all those wires and all that stuff.
Well, it is interesting. It's just like with anything, knock on wood. Everything is always better, getting better and better. But still, it can still break. So the question, the devil's advocate question always comes up, like, this is all great, but what if it doesn't work?
Right.
Yeah.
What's the fail safe? And a lot of the times, if everything is completely like reliant on this smart home, like that's it.
Right.
And just like, oh, I can just turn on. Well, you can't do that anymore because you've already gone to the full extent, which isn't a bad thing, but you just have to be prepared for those instances that goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, another good one is the obscure glass, the switch glass that you can turn off and on. in showers. You know,
Right,
people do
right.
that in showers and bathrooms
Oh.
all the time.
Okay.
So you can turn a switch and the glass becomes frosted, right?
Right.
And then you turn it off and it's clear again. So what's the longevity of that? Like, cause like that's something that you have to like pre-wire for ahead of time and do all
Okay,
of this
yeah.
stuff under surfaces. Well, if it's in a shower, you're behind tile and all this stuff. So if that breaks,
Right.
how do you fix it? And what if it breaks on you in the middle of a shower? You know, it's like little things
Yeah.
like that. Like it's a cool concept, but it's just like, it's kind of interesting, right? Like
Yeah.
if it breaks, like I guess I'm just like, okay
Yeah.
with clear glass forever and waving at everybody from a window.
I mean, I worked on
my
a project. It was years ago, and they were high tech. They wanted to be high tech, so
Yeah.
they had the switches where you had to full on and off, and it never was wired right. And the thing is that at that point, when there's so many rooms out, you can't. No one can fix it. It's like unless you reopen the walls and restart
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
from
Yeah,
scratch.
yeah.
There's no electrician that's going to come and figure the shit out because it's like
Yeah.
we're not. And it was just kind of funny because I'm like, on-off switch would just
Solve the problem.
and so they had, they had those things, and then they had Post-it next to it, to be able to figure out
Which buttons are what? Yeah,
buttons-
before
I'm
they
like, this
actually
is-
engrave them. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just a great design thing. We should do pink Post-its instead of yellow.
See?
But there's something to say. I mean, now obviously tech is evolving, but as people push it, it becomes more and more, and
Of course.
there's still this thing where, suddenly you can't call just anybody to change your.
It's like,
Yeah.
turn on lights. I don't understand you. Turn on the lights. I didn't quite get you. You're breaking up. And it's just like,
Yeah.
where's that?
I've stayed. I stayed at a friend's house, and their whole, like all of their, like they didn't use their switches at all. They only like told, I think it was Google, to like turn on the lights and to like change the color of the lights in the room, and like it seemed really cool and fun, but at the same time I'm like, I don't want to use my voice all the time. Like I kind of just want to.
Well, that's what
turn
like
it up.
Laurent
Yeah,
was just saying, right? It's
exactly.
like I like just I don't know if it's like relax or therapeutic for you to just walk through a space and then
Yeah.
click on a lamp or dim a lamp down
Right.
or turn on a like basic things like
Yeah.
that, right?
You want to have control over your space in
Yeah.
some ways. Yeah.
And I think it's. I find how the interior is a little romantic. If it's too techy, it loses a little bit of that human feel.
That romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That romance.
Yeah.
And I like a lamp with a
Well, and that's the thing, and
lampshade.
I think that's the important part of if it's, again, trying to layer it in properly to
Right.
where it's not just like full tech, but if you can get it
Get it,
dialed in
right.
correctly, it could be advantageous, right? But again, it comes down to like how clever you want to be about it,
Right,
Or in
exactly.
regards to be like, yeah, I want to get that moodiness. Like you would probably drive a programmer crazy,
Oh, yeah.
just because it's just like, no, not that lamp. I want this lamp on this switch and this lamp tied into this, because it can get really endless. It can
Oh, yeah.
get crazy because you can set scenes. It doesn't have to be individual lamps. It could be like your friend was doing at the house you were at. It's a setting, right? So you can
Yeah.
have a whole scene. You don't have to have necessarily individual lights. You set them up as scenes. So it just becomes endless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it all seems very fun and very interesting, but I also, I guess, I don't know, I'm so old-fashioned for a millennial. I'll say that I'm like, I like a switch. I like blowing out a candle.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I
Yeah.
don't disagree with you.
So speaking of, when it comes to trends in architecture and in residential architecture primarily, are you noticing like some things that people are asking for that maybe they didn't about 10 years ago?
Not specifically.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen anything yet that's kind of like any kind of crazy different, I think.
Okay.
Right, revolution.
But yeah, it all seems kind of like normal, I guess I would
Okay.
say. Nothing really stands out in regards to like complete opposite of what it was like 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's more of just because it's kind of evolving. It's constantly evolving versus just like setting something new. You know, it's more of taking like an old idea and just, it's, I guess, becoming more and more modern, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Right? More
Yeah.
so than anything else.
Okay. Are you noticing, because something we've talked about on here quite a bit is the floor plans of a lot of spaces have been really, really big. Ooh, sorry. So it's been a lot of like open space.
concept.
Yeah, open concept. And we're hearing a little bit about how people are wanting to close things off a little bit more, especially since like the pandemic, when people want more privacy in their home.
Yep.
Is that something that you've noticed?
A little bit. I mean, I think there's still the mindset of, I guess, how far the open concept goes in the house, right? Because you look at bigger, more large-scale modern homes that are going up, and it's just like, it's like open everywhere, right? It's like all the way through, large, tall ceilings all the way through. There's no like definition or playfulness in how you experience the house, right? But I think there's still, and this is the trend, like we were talking about, the trend of the open concept that keeps evolving in different ways, right? I think still people really kind of focus on it from what I call the entertainment side of the house, which is the open concept between kitchen and kind of great room, where you kind of spend the majority of your time. Those ones have still kind of seemed to stay connected. Okay. You know, I haven't had a project yet that wanted them completely closed off and separate.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, we like to be playful with ceiling heights and things like that. So you do get definitions. So it may be open concept, but what we'll do is we'll try to like frame in the opening, you know, so it's not just one big room, but we'll still frame it in just enough, just to give it almost like kind of how your windows are behind you, to where it's kind of tucked in and framed in. I mean, it's still open and connected to each other, right? But you kind of start breaking down the space a little bit more to give you, again, going back to the layering and the detailing of stuff, right? Yeah. So that's when it starts getting a little bit more, you know, you get to kind of get the best of both worlds, which I think a lot of people, well, I like it, you know, because then it adds that detail in, and it kind of breaks it up more.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about working with Edel.
Oh. It's a therapy session today.
Yeah,
No,
just a little bit, because working with someone that you also live with and have an entirely different relationship than a work relationship with.
You do? Okay.
I'm curious about how that dynamic works, and like working directly and collaborating with, and you had business together for very, very long time. Yeah.
Yep.
So
right.
how's that?
Well, we touched on it earlier. I think what's helpful about our working relationship, which the hardest part about our working relationship is turning that off.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even though we leave the office, it's still, you know, it's constant. It's constant. But at the same point, we don't know any different. So it's kind of like it's kind of like second nature for us, which is great.
Right.
But I think what's helpful for us is that we like different things. We have a different opposing viewpoint on a lot of stuff, even in design, right? So I think that's what's helpful that's what's allowed us to keep working together so long, right? Because it's not less like, hey, what do you think about, you know, this sofa? Oh, I love that sofa too. What do you think about this? Oh, that's a great idea. You should do that. It's very rarely those conversations, right? It's more just like, hey, what do you think about this idea? So it's like, oh, that's cool, but what if you change this or move this around or this? It's very, I guess, constructive in a good way, but it's just because we have different viewpoints on stuff. And I think that's what helps us kind of navigate things really smooth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I really like that. And I think
it's not just all like unicorns and rainbows all the time, you know. It's not like we should do blue. Yeah, I love blue too. Or we should do a round window here. Yeah, let's do a big round window. You know, it's always a good conversation to be had. Yeah.
And do you feel like that sort of collaboration and like seeking to come up with the best solution is something that you also bring into your relationship?
What? That's a great idea. We should think about that. I don't know. Again, that's a good question. Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the age-old saying, opposites attract.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it works. And I think I agree with you. I think that's why it works.
Yeah.
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 But you also
that's
have like,
beautiful.
I mean, what strikes me, and maybe I'm wrong, but you seem to be able to preserve your family. Like you know, Edel and Chris is to me is a family first, which is interesting. And then there's the business part
the business
of it.
after that.
But you've always, you know, coming here, you've always been like, no, it's Edel and Chris as a family, and you know, and that has always been a big thing for me.
Well, and that's always the hardest part, right? Like we were just talking, because it's just like what you're, you know, I know you're bringing it up because we there's a lot of dinners that we've missed because we always had family events, and that's
not even that, but
no, but it's just, and that's always the hardest balance for us is like, when do you turn, it's like, because we both own our own business,
right?
You know, we had our own business together, obviously together for many years, and now we're still running our own businesses separately. And, you know, you're not working for somebody else. So it would be easier to turn off and on when you're obviously working for somebody. You know, work doesn't turn off a majority of the time, but you still try to create that separation as best you can between, you know, family and work.
But I love that.
That's just part of it.
I really love that about you guys is it feels so genuine, and be like, nope, that's, you know, we're taking a vacation, or we're taking a weekend, or, you know, you seem to be preserving that in a very healthy way.
Trying.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a challenge, but you know,
well, the phone's always on, you know. It's
right,
like,
exactly. But you
know?
seem to be at least trying to
we
preserve
do.
that.
We definitely do try.
And you have 2 kids?
Just one.
Just one.
Just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Oh my gosh.
Who is still for me a baby, but she's now 10. I'm like,
I was just gonna say, how old is
I gotta
she?
bring the you know,
yeah,
the 10 going on 18 over here.
yeah. I think we need that.
Yeah, you need that. But yeah, just one.
Is she showing any interest in architecture?
I don't know if necessarily architecture. She's definitely a creative, you know, at heart. And again, like we were talking about earlier with my dad, you know, growing up with my dad, like, you know, and you with your dad, same thing. Like, I'm going to a job site. She's like, oh, okay, let's go. You know, she loves going to job sites, you know, and I'll take her there. And, you know, it's like, what's that? Well, I don't sugarcoat anything. That's a 2x4. That's a chimney. That's a cornice. That's, you know, I don't talk to her any differently, that, you know, so she picks up on those words. So she uses those same words. So when she's building, you know, Legos or models or things like that, she's like, Dad, look at this chimney, you know. And other people probably, other girls her age building would probably not say that. They'd probably be like, oh, that's the bed. And she's like, you know, and same thing with Edel. Oh, you know, Mom, do you have any fabric remnants left over at the office? I'm gonna use it to make a rug for my doll. Like she'll go crazy. It's not just a cardboard model. It'll be like, oh, that's the rug, that's the bat. Like she's like already like figuring out the whole house setup, and that's obviously, you know, kudos to us, because that's just the world she lives in with us, you know. And so, but it's fun to watch.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God, what's happening? It's like, no, you get doctor, lawyer,
right.
You try, but deep down, she's a creative.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so fun. Also, fabric remnants, gosh, being like little and having like Barbie dolls or something, I would die. I would love that. What
and
a
then
gift.
she'll also cut them up and make clothes.
Yeah.
For her Barbie dolls too.
Amazing.
I know it's funny because there's a little bit of a fashion sense that I see her on. Yeah. I'm like, you never know.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah. I just want her to be totally open to anything and everything, you know, whatever interests her. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, but it's fun to see her kind of delve into the stuff that we're doing a little bit.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's why we do it in some respect. I mean, Chloe swore, you know, that she would never do anything the way we do it. We did it because, you know, obviously. Ends up that she's following smack in the footstep of her mom, at least, and it's really funny. I mean, it's like I'm laughing hysterically. So, yeah,
it's natural. It's natural.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to the 3 questions that we asked to all of our guests.
Okay.
My first question for you is, What is the messiest place in your home?
I think that Edel said that it was Chris's room. Right?
The messiest place in our home, or my home, our home. I wonder what she said.
Pom, 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 pom.
Oh, that's gonna have to be our bar or bar top.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's on it?
I don't know. Whatever lands on there. It's like the landing spot for
everything.
for mail, charging station.
Oh, yeah.
Just stuff that doesn't get put away. It's either that, honestly, or the hearth on one of our fireplaces. That's just the landing spot of, because that's the easiest. It's off the ground. You just put your stuff down, and then you just keep walking by.
Keep walking by.
Just keep walking by it. Right? It's probably those two spots.
Okay. The top. I that actually makes a lot of sense, because when you walk in, you just need to drop your stuff and you can go in the rest of the house. But I don't want to deal with this right now. I'll deal with this later. I can just put it down. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's those two spots. Those are our two spots for the drop everything.
It's funny because here there's this pantry.
That hallway,
that
right?
hallway.
Yeah.
And I dream one day of having that counter clean, and it will never happen. I don't know why. There's always shit on that thing.
Well, yeah, we have a housekeeper that comes every other week, right, to clean, and do stuff, right? And it's always funny because she just reorganizes the mess that's there. So at least it looks a little bit more tidy. So when I come home, I'm in my mind, I'm mentally hoping that it's going to be put away and gone. And it's still there. It's just more organized and cleaned out.
It's nice pile.
Yeah, it's like nice. It's nice organized chaos now.
And then it's funny because I'm trying to organize it, and I'm like, okay, when I get home, I'm putting my AirPods and my keys.
Yeah.
There's everything but my AirPods and my keys. They're still somewhere else.
Yeah. That's right.
It's really frustrating, but I will get to it. I mean, I will get there one day when I grow up.
Yeah,
when you grow up.
No, yeah.
Okay, my next question for you is, what is your favorite space that you have designed?
A favorite space that I have designed? Oh, man. That's a loaded question. So mine's like it's a combination of two spaces, right? But both part of an entry. So is this house in Newport Beach that I designed. And to get to the front door, you had to go through like an entry courtyard, right? Mm-hmm. So there was it looked like a front door from the street, but then when you walked through that, that was actually a gate, not necessarily a door. So then you walked almost over like a bridge, right? That looked down into a sunken courtyard below grade, right? And then to the right was, it's very grand. On the right side, as you walked by to the actual front door to the house, was a fireplace and two big outside lounge chairs. So you were outside, you were open to the sky.
Wow.
So you walked through the front gate again, and that you were under a cover, right? Almost like a covered porch. And then you walked outside again, then you were open to the sky, and you had again courtyard below, fireplace to the right, and then the front door was in front of you. And then when you got into the front door, it was the stairs went up and over you behind you, and then the ceiling was a skylight in the entry.
Oh,
so
wow.
you saw sky again, so you could still access the second floor that was the different wings around the entryway. But everything was open to the sky. So you just had this beautiful view of the sky, and then that's how you circulated the rest of the house.
Oh, wow.
So it was more of it was more about the journey.
Right.
I think that was what was special for me. It was about because it wasn't your proverbial front door, you go to the front door and you were automatically in the house. This one, it was like a procession to really get into the house per se.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun project.
Wow.
That was a really fun project.
Oh, that sounds really special.
Yeah, it was fun.
Are there photos of that on your website?
No, because that was actually one of the very first, the firm I worked at before.
Okay.
With my boss. I'd have to see. I don't know if we ever took photos of that house, but I could show you 3D renderings of it.
Oh.
You could see it.
Okay.
View of the ocean?
Huh?
View of the ocean?
It was on the ocean because they had a boat, so they had their own private dock.
Oh
right?
my gosh!
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So it was that was the firm, the office I was at before I went off on my own. That was one of my very first times that I was able to like have full like, hey, you design this house for this client. I want to see what you put together. That was my first opportunity to really design something as an architect and like do a whole like design for a client. And they loved it. They ate it up, and it was amazing. It was so fun. I mean, and again, the client was great. The site itself was amazing. It was on the water, out on the peninsula. They had their own dock. You know, everything. It's just like, it's all those different nuances of those projects that make each one special, right? And each one unique. And that's what's so fun, right? And you're able to put your own spin on it. And then when they buy into it, oh, it's the best ever.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, wow. Okay, I love that.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll send you the renderings.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll send you the renderings.
My last question for you is, when you walk into a new space, what is the first thing that you notice?
And this is obviously a new space we've designed, right?
Sure. Or a space that you're about to work on, or even walking in here. You've been here a lot, so.
Well, let me tell you what I would do here. We don't have time for that today. I don't know. I don't think there's really one specific thing. I kind of look at everything. Like, again, how everything pairs to get, like, I think it just comes down to the word layers again, right? Like, it comes down to what feels that if it's like an existing space, like what doesn't work, what feels like it's not working. If it's a new space, it's just like, if it's my space, of course, it's great and amazing and perfect. But you know, in anything, you just start scanning and kind of seeing what works or what doesn't work, what feels right, what doesn't feel right. If it's existing, like, oh my God, we really need to not keep anything. So I think in totality, it's just everything.
And instinctively, when you're in a space, you know, that's not something like a new space or someone's home or something. Do you reorganize the space? Like without even... Yeah.
And I think that's obviously Edel's fault. But no, and it's just because of, aside from her genius doing her thing, the previous firms I worked at as well too, before we went off on our own and did our own craziness, was both the firms I worked at were also very, I guess what's the right word, heavily interior driven too. So it wasn't just like, I've always worked at firms that was complete cohesive projects. It wasn't just like, this is where the shell stops and this is where the interior stops, or, you know, there was always this, you know, cohesion of, you know, so everything was clear and there was a clear vision, right? And I think that's why when I look at spaces, I don't just like, oh, look at I don't just look at the architecture. I look at everything, like, you know, and that's just what I've just internally been ingrained to think about, right?
So how is that when you work with another designer? Do you have any challenges with it, or?
Yes, and I only say that is because, again, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm very prideful of how a space is supposed to turn out. So it's finding the right balance. Like with Edel, it's easy, right? In a nice way, because I can either, I don't like that. I can easily go person, you know, obvious, and it becomes an internal sounding board again, right? So that's easier. When I'm working with other interior designers, because I work with, and this was also what kind of spurred our kind of separate entities, right? Is because I do work with a lot of other interior designers, and you just have to find the right moments and the right way of, like, because again, everybody has their own taste and their own design sense and things like that. So like when I'm working with other interior designers, like I have to be cautious about the threshold, right? Like I was just at one yesterday, and the client is constantly asking me what I think about the interior designer's choices, everything. And so, you know, I try to be fair, because again, that interior designer, A, is not Edel, and then B, it's not how I would design. Even if I was playing the interiors, I wouldn't do it that way. So if something like something really has to look out of the box for me to be like, hey, I just have a question, and I'm only asking because it just feels super out of place for me, or it just feels odd, or things like that. Like it has to be like glaringly like poking you in the eye
Yeah.
for me to just raise my hand and honestly say something and be very cordial about it, of course, and be like, hey, in my opinion, I just wanted to ask what made you, and I don't say like, oh, this is wrong, or this is odd. Just to be like, hey, what made you get to this, or what do you like about this, or because I just have some concerns about this. It just doesn't feel like it fits right, you know? Yeah. So, and that's the hardest part, because there's just a lot of things that, you know, everybody has their own like ways of designing things and doing, and their own aesthetics too. So it's just like trying to play nicely, but also be just like, hey, we got to change that, or you got to just try to, like I said, raise your hand just because. I mean, that's just what makes the project better too.
Right.
Or it tries to elevate, like you were saying, you guys were both saying earlier, it tries to elevate it, right? Yeah. To make sure it's at the best it can be. And then if they still want to do it, I always tell clients, I'd be like, hey, that's your choice. This is your house. You know, I always give them that. They'd be like, well, don't say that. But I always try to put it back on them. But again, it's just about trying to be, you know, fair to the, you know, other people on the design team. Right?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic between, you know, because there are so many, I mean, even with the contractors and you know, it's a team that, to build a big house and to build it successfully, you do have to collaborate, and not having a competition. You know, it's like it's very hard when a designer is like competing with the architect. I'm like, this is not a recipe for success.
Yeah, and you just have to be like, again, everybody's professionals about it, and I'm sure same thing with like when a designer asks you to change something on one of your chairs or sofas, you'd be like, hey, I could do that, but really, you really shouldn't do this because of X, Y, Z, or because in my experience, Well,
how about that yesterday?
So, you know, that's just, and that's also too what, you know, kind of makes the projects more successful, because you go through, again, it's not just like, hey, here's my first design. Okay, that looks great. Let's execute it. And then it's done. It's never that way. Every project goes through its own, you know, tumultuous adventure in good and bad ways. But it's just the fact that at the end of the project, it's so rewarding and so successful that it overweighs all the facts that, hey, remember when Chris complained about that one tile that the interior designer picked and he didn't like, you know, that whole stuff. So, so the end result overweighs kind of everything that, you know, has taken place.
Yeah. You're awesome. I love chatting with you. This is really fun. And it's also, it's really great because we got Edel's side. And so we can also see
you get the opposite side.
Yeah, what it's like.
Her side, of course, together. Is better. I know. It's okay.
Well,
you can.
No way. No, it's really interesting because you are both so different. And I mean, I also love the work that you've done together, and again, the stalking and looking at all of your work and
Thank
stuff. Do you have anything that's coming up or that's new that you want to like just plug or
project-wise?
Yeah.
Well, the one I was telling you about, the Napa inspired one.
Yeah.
That one's gonna be really good.
Can't wait.
Just because, again, it's, you know, the more and more I do these projects, like, I don't know, there's just something about this one that's like, you know, different than all the rest. And I just think it's fun because of, again, all the just so how heavy the materiality is on it, which is fun. It just makes it different than everything else.
Is this one, do you plan on getting it published?
That's always the goal. That's always the goal with every project.
Yeah.
But this one, I feel, will. It's just a matter of finding the right. So
yeah.
Whoever is listening was a publication, jump on it, because it's going to be.
Jump on that.
No, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be really good. So hopefully, you know, knock on wood, it's going to finish up. I think by the end of the year. I think.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be pretty rad.
Amazing.
Where do we find you? How do we find you?
How do you find me?
Oh, you, I know exactly how to find you. That's
true. That is true.
But for people who are not me.
Oh, who are not you?
Yeah.
Oh, just go to my website, which is christophercourts.com.
Perfect.
That's the best way to reach me.
That's the best way.
Yeah, that's the best way to see all my my genius.
Nice.
There's a lot of good stuff on there too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you again for being here. And we have lunch planned. So
Oh, I'm down.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clutter Bravado is filmed on location at the Kimberly Denman Showroom in Los Angeles, California. For inquiries about our furniture, a directory of our guests, or just to reach out with questions or comments, email us at clutterbravado@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Clutter Bravado. Thank you.